Monica Spear spent her life smiling at a country that no longer smiled back. Cameras crowned her, parades blessed her, and she believed beauty could still mean goodness. On her last night, that same beauty made her visible to the wrong kind of eyes. The highway lights flickered like dying candles over the body of their queen. She loved Venezuela enough to die, proving it wasn't lost. January 6, 2014. Highway 33's Valencia to Puerto Cabello, 11:47 p.m. A Toyota SUV sits broken on the roadside, engine dead. Hazard lights blinking red into the Venezuelan dark. Monica Spear is inside with her ex-husband Thomas and their 5-year-old daughter Maya. They're waiting for help, just a family on vacation, just trying to get home. She sees them approaching, 7 men, walking slowly through the dark. She knows what this is. Everyone in Venezuela knows what this is. Monica locks the doors, tells Maya to stay down, reaches for her phone. The men surround the car. Demand they open up. Monica refuses. She has her daughter. She has to protect her daughter. They don't negotiate. They just shoot. Through the windows, through the metal, through the bodies of 2 people who believed love could be a shield. Monica Spear dies on that highway at 29 years old. So does Thomas Henry Barry. Their daughter survives, physically. She's found hours later, wounded, covered in her parents' blood, asking when mommy will wake up. Venezuela wakes up the next morning to discover it has murdered its queen. But here's what the headlines won't tell you. Monica Spear didn't die because she was unlucky. She died because she refused to stop believing in a country that had already stopped believing in itself. "I love my country," she once said, "even when it hurts me." It killed her. Every crown in Venezuela shines brightest before it draws blood. To understand how a beauty queen became a martyr, how a woman who wore tiaras ended up bleeding on a highway, we must go back. Back to when Venezuela still had hope. Back to when beauty meant something more than survival. Back to the girl who believed kindness was power. Back to before the bullets. Maracaibo, Venezuela, October 4, 1984. Oil money and optimism. Monica Spear Moots is born into a Venezuela that still works. The economy is growing. The middle class is expanding. Oil prices are high, and Venezuelans believe their country is destined for greatness. There's crime. Yes, there's always crime in Latin America. But there's also possibility. The sense that if you work hard, if you're talented, if you're lucky, you can build something. Her father, Rafael Spear, is an engineer. Her mother, Ingeborg Moots, is a homemaker of German descent. They're comfortable but not wealthy. Upper middle class in a country where that still means something. Monica grows up in a house that smells of arepas and ambition, where education is sacred and kindness is expected. She's beautiful from childhood. Everyone notices. Blonde hair, striking features, a smile that photographs like sunshine. But her parents raise her to understand that beauty is a responsibility, not an entitlement. If you're given a gift, her mother tells her, you use it to help others. Otherwise, it's just vanity. Monica takes this seriously. She's studious, earns good grades, reads literature and poetry. She's kind, the girl who tutors struggling classmates, who brings extra lunch for students who can't afford it, who smiles at everyone. Not the practiced smile of someone performing, but the genuine smile of someone who actually likes people. She's also ambitious, dreams of being an actress, wants to travel, wants to see the world beyond Maracaibo, but she understands that in Venezuela, beauty is currency. And if you're beautiful enough, it can buy you a platform to do something meaningful. At 16, she starts modeling. Local fashion shows, department store catalogs, nothing glamorous, just a pretty girl earning pocket money. But she's learning how to hold herself, how to work a camera, how to turn beauty into opportunity. Her parents worry. They've seen too many beautiful girls consumed by the industry, used up and discarded. But Monica promises them, I'm not going to be just a pretty face. I'm going to be more. She keeps that promise. So at 19, she enters Miss Venezuela. The Miss Venezuela pageant is not like other beauty contests. In Venezuela, it's a national obsession, a cultural phenomenon. More people watch the pageant than the presidential elections. Winners become instant celebrities, businesswomen, television stars. The pageant has launched more careers than any university. It's also brutal. The competition is fierce. Dozens of the most beautiful women in the country, all competing for one crown. They train for months. Diet, exercise, deportment, interview skills. It's not just about being pretty. It's about being perfect. Monica is not the favorite. She's pretty, yes, but so is everyone. What sets her apart is something else: authenticity. While other contestants give polished, rehearsed answers, Monica speaks from the heart. When the judges ask her what Venezuela means to her, she doesn't talk about oil wealth or natural beauty. She says, home. Even when it hurts, it's honest, vulnerable, real, and in a competition built on artifice, realness stands out. It's 2004. She's 20 years old. And against all odds, against the favorites and the predictions, Monica Spear-Moots becomes Miss Venezuela 2004. She didn't win because she was the most beautiful. She won because she made people believe Venezuela still was. The crown changes everything. Overnight, she's famous. Her face is on billboards across the country and magazines, on television. She does appearances, gives speeches, opens shopping malls. She's not just a person anymore, she's a symbol. A representation of Venezuelan beauty and grace. She represents Venezuela at Miss Universe 2005 in Thailand. Finishes in the top 5. Not a winner, but close enough. Close enough to matter. Close enough to prove she wasn't just a local phenomenon. But here's what nobody expects. Monica doesn't let fame corrupt her. She could become shallow, vapid, another pretty face collecting appearance fees and endorsement deals. Many Miss Venezuelas do. The money is good. The attention is intoxicating. Instead, she goes back to school. Enrolls in theater classes at Universidad Central de Venezuela. Studies acting seriously. Takes voice lessons. Movement classes. Script analysis. She decides that if she's going to be famous, she's going to be famous for something real. Something she earned through skill, not just genetics. Her friends think she's crazy. You're already famous, they say. Why work so hard? Because beauty fades, she tells them. Dignity doesn't. She starts acting in telenovelas. Venezuelan soap operas. The genre that dominates Latin American television. It's not prestige drama. It's melodrama, passion, betrayal, impossible love, tragic deaths, miraculous resurrections. But it's what people watch. And Monica is good at it. She learned to cry on cue long before life demanded the real thing. Her breakout role comes in 2007, Mi Prima Ciela. She plays a sweet, naive young woman caught in complicated family drama. Critics praise her naturalism, her ability to make melodrama feel genuine. She's not just beautiful, she's talented. She has presence, timing, the ability to make audiences believe in whatever emotion she's selling. More roles follow. Calle Luna, Calle Sol in 2009, Flor Salvaje in 2011, Pasión Prohibida in 2013, each one bigger than the last. By 2010, Monica Spear is one of the biggest television stars in Latin America. Her shows air in dozens of countries: Mexico, Colombia, Peru, Spain, the United States. She's invited to film in Mexico City, to do press tours in Miami, to attend galas in Madrid. The cameras that made her famous also taught her the difference between admiration and hunger. She's making good money now, buys her parents a house, invests wisely, doesn't spend frivolously on luxury items. She remembers where she came from, remembers that most Venezuelans don't have what she has. So she does charity work, visits children's hospitals dressed as characters from her shows, hands out toys in poor neighborhoods during Christmas, donates money quietly, not for publicity, but because it's the right thing to do. In interviews, she's humble, self-deprecating. When asked about her beauty, she deflects. If you can't make people better, you're not really beautiful. Her colleagues love her. Directors describe her as professional, prepared, easy to work with. Co-stars say she's generous on set, doesn't hog the spotlight, helps younger actors, remembers crew members' names. She's the rarest thing in entertainment, genuinely kind. But she always comes home to Venezuela, even as the country starts to unravel. By 2008, Venezuela is changing. Hugo Chavez has been in power for a decade. His Bolivarian revolution promised to lift the poor, to redistribute wealth, to build a socialist paradise. Instead, the economy is collapsing. Oil prices are falling. Inflation is rising. The government responds by nationalizing industries, printing money, implementing price controls. Basic goods become scarce. Supermarket shelves empty. The black market thrives. And crime explodes. Venezuela, once relatively safe by Latin American standards, becomes one of the most dangerous countries on earth. Caracas develops a murder rate higher than Baghdad in wartime. Kidnapping becomes routine, a growth industry. Armed robberies happen in broad daylight. The middle class starts fleeing. Every week, someone Monica knows leaves for Miami, for Spain, for anywhere that feels safer. Brain drain, capital flight, the slow hemorrhaging of everyone who can afford to leave. Her friends ask, "Why do you stay?" "Because it's home," she says. "Because someone has to believe it can get better." But privately, she's worried. The kidnappings are increasing. Several actors have been targeted. One was held for ransom for 3 weeks. Another was killed when the exchange went wrong. Monica carries pepper spray, avoids certain neighborhoods after dark, travels with security when filming in public locations. Her parents beg her to be careful. Her manager suggests she consider relocating to Mexico or Miami, where many Venezuelan actors have already moved. But she refuses to live in fear, refuses to let violence dictate her life, refuses to abandon the country that made her who she is. "You can leave Venezuela," she says in an interview, "but Venezuela never leaves you. It's beautiful, it's true, and it's a death sentence." In 2008, she meets Thomas Henry Barry at a party in Caracas. He's Irish, working in Venezuela as a businessman, something in telecommunications. He's handsome, charming, different from the actors and models in her world. He's not trying to be famous. He's not impressed by her celebrity. He treats her like a person, not a symbol. They fall in love fast. It feels genuine, real. Not the manufactured romance of telenovela scripts, but something organic. They date for a year, get married in 2009 in a small ceremony. She doesn't want a spectacle, just family and close friends. They have a daughter later that year. Maya, born healthy and perfect. Monica posts photos on social media. Maya as a newborn, Maya taking her first steps, Maya laughing in the Caracas sunshine. Monica calls her mi razón de existir, my reason for existing. For a moment, Monica has everything. Career at its peak, a marriage, a child, purpose. The fairy tale looks complete. But Venezuela keeps falling apart, and so does her marriage. Thomas wants to leave, wants to move to Ireland, to the United States, to Europe. Somewhere safe. Somewhere their daughter can grow up without armed guards and bulletproof cars. Monica refuses. "This is her home," she says. "This is where she belongs. I won't let fear drive us away." They fight about it. About safety, about responsibility, about whether love for a country is worth risking your family. About whether staying is brave or just stubborn. He wanted safety. She wanted meaning. Love couldn't survive 2 different definitions of salvation. The fights get worse. Thomas sees Monica's loyalty to Venezuela as irrational. She sees his desire to leave as cowardice. Neither is wrong. Neither is right. They just want different futures. In 2012, they separate. Not with anger, just with the sad recognition that they want incompatible things. The divorce is amicable. They both love Maya. They both want what's best for her. They just disagree on what that is. Monica moves to Miami with Maya. Thomas stays in Venezuela for work but visits regularly. They remain friendly. Still family, just not married. They share custody. Maya spends time in both places. Monica tries to build a life in Miami. Gets roles in American productions, mostly minor parts in Spanish-language shows. Learns English. Takes Maya to American schools. Makes new friends in the Venezuelan exile community. But she's homesick, constantly. Miami is safe, clean, orderly. The supermarkets are full. There are no kidnappings, no murders, no fear. But it's not home. She keeps going back to Venezuela. For work, she still has contracts, still films shows in Caracas, to see friends, to visit family, to remember what it feels like to be Monica Spear, Venezuelan star, not just another immigrant actress in Miami trying to break into American television. Her friends in Miami warn her, "It's not safe anymore. People are getting killed for their phones. Don't go back." "I know," she says, "but I can't stop loving it just because it stopped being safe." Everyone else was running. She mistook courage for roots. By 2013, Venezuela is in full crisis. The economy has collapsed completely. Inflation hits triple digits. Food shortages are severe. People wait in line for hours for basic items like milk and toilet paper. The government blames external enemies, claims the United States is waging economic war, and crime reaches apocalyptic levels. There are approximately 25,000 murders a year in Venezuela. That's 73 murders a day, 3 every hour, 1 every 20 minutes. The police are overwhelmed, underpaid, often corrupt. Many moonlight as criminals. Justice is rare. Most murders are never solved. Most criminals are never caught. Kidnapping becomes so common it's called an epidemic. Express kidnappings, where victims are held for a few hours while their bank accounts are drained, happen dozens of times a day. Longer kidnappings with ransom negotiations happen to anyone perceived as wealthy. Wealthy families hire private security, install panic rooms, bulletproof their cars. Some pay monthly protection fees to criminal gangs, a mafia tax just to stay alive. Celebrities are particularly vulnerable. They're visible, known to have money, easy to find. Several Venezuelan actors and athletes are kidnapped, robbed, or killed. The violence becomes routine. Every few weeks, another tragedy, another funeral. Monica knows all this. Everyone knows. It's impossible not to know. But she keeps returning, keeps believing that things will get better, that Venezuela deserves her faith, that someone has to refuse to give up. She wasn't naive. She just refused to let fear be the anthem. In December 2013, she goes back for the holidays. Brings Maya. Plans to spend Christmas and New Year with family and friends. Thomas joins them, not as a husband, but as a father. They're co-parenting, being mature, showing Maya that even when marriages end, families don't have to. They stay with relatives in Caracas, visit the beach at Puerto Cabello, eat traditional holiday foods, halakas, pan de jamon, pernil. Monica posts photos on Instagram. Sunset over the Caribbean, Maya building sandcastles, herself smiling under a rainbow. She looks happy, relaxed, at peace, home. Friends later will say she seemed lighter during that trip, like she'd made peace with something, like she'd found a way to balance her love for Venezuela with her life in Miami. The last photo she posts is from January 5th, 2014. A rainbow arching over Highway 33, photographed from the passenger seat of their car. The colors are vivid against the gray sky. The caption reads, Esperanza, hope. She meant it as inspiration, as a reminder that beauty still exists even in dark times. 24 hours later, she's dead on that same highway, her blood mixing with the rain on the asphalt under that same sky. January 6, 2014. Monica, Thomas, and Maya are driving from Valencia back to Puerto Cabello, one more day at the beach before flying back to Miami. The vacation is almost over. Just one more drive, just one more memory. It's early evening when they leave Valencia. The drive should take about an hour. Highway 33 is a major road, well-traveled, well-lit in most sections. They've driven it dozens of times. At around 11:30 p.m., their Toyota 4Runner starts making strange noises. Engine trouble. Thomas pulls over to check. They're on a dark stretch of highway, not much traffic, no houses nearby. The car won't start again. Engine completely dead. Thomas calls for roadside assistance. They're told a tow truck will come, but it might take a while. They should wait in the car. Lock the doors. Stay safe. In Venezuela, waiting on the side of a highway at night is suicide. Everyone knows this, but what choice do they have? Walk along a dark highway with a 5-year-old? Try to flag down a car in a country where good Samaritans often become victims. So they wait. Maya falls asleep in the back seat. Thomas and Monica talk quietly. Maybe about Maya. Maybe about the vacation. Maybe about nothing important. Just passing time until help arrives. The men appear around 11:45 p.m. 7 of them. Maybe 8. Accounts vary. Walking slowly down the highway. No car. Just men emerging from the darkness like they've been waiting. Monica sees them first. Reaches over and squeezes Thomas's hand. He understands immediately. They both understand. This is what happens in Venezuela. This is the lottery everyone plays every time they leave their house. And they've just lost. The men surround the car like wolves circling wounded prey. They have guns. They're not hiding them. In Venezuela, criminals don't need to hide anymore. They knock on the windows. Demand they open the doors, demand money, jewelry, phones, the car, everything. Thomas tries to negotiate through the closed window, offers money, says they can take whatever they want, just let them go. The men aren't interested in negotiation. Monica, sitting in the passenger seat, locks the doors again. They'd unlock them automatically when the car stopped. She reaches into the back seat and puts her hand on Maya, who's waking up, confused and frightened. "Stay down, mi amor," she whispers. "Everything's going to be okay." It's the last lie she tells. The men don't wait, they don't argue, they don't give warnings, they just start shooting. Through the windows, through the doors, through everything. Thomas is hit first, multiple bullets, chest and head. He dies almost instantly, slumped against the steering wheel, hands still reaching for Monica. Monica is hit in the chest. She tries to shield Maya with her body. Tries to be a human barrier between the bullets and her child. She turns, covers her daughter, takes bullets meant for a 5-year-old girl. But bullets don't respect love, they don't care about sacrifice, they just go where they're aimed. Monica's spear dies on Highway 33 in the country she refused to abandon. She's 29 years old. She bleeds out on the leather seat while her daughter screams underneath her. Maya survives. She's shot in the leg but lives. The men finally open the doors, take what they want, cash, phones, jewelry, and disappear back into the Venezuelan night like they were never there. Maya is found hours later by police, still in the car, sandwiched between her parents' bodies, covered in their blood, asking when they're going to wake up. Her daughter was the only future she trusted, and the one witness the country didn't deserve. The news breaks on January 7th, 2014. At first, there's confusion, social media rumors, unconfirmed reports. Maybe it's not true, maybe it's a mistake, maybe it's someone else. Then confirmation comes from Monica's family. Yes, it's real. Monica Spear, former Miss Venezuela, one of the country's biggest television stars, has been murdered on a highway. Shot to death along with her ex-husband while their 5-year-old daughter watched. Venezuela stops breathing. Social media explodes. Twitter trends worldwide. Facebook fills with tributes. Celebrities post photos. Politicians issue statements. International news picks up the story. But mostly there's just shock and grief and rage. Because Monica wasn't just any victim. She was their queen. The girl who made it. Who went from middle-class Maracaibo to Miss Venezuela to television stardom. Who represented the best of Venezuela. Beauty, talent, kindness, optimism. And if even she wasn't safe, then who was? If fame couldn't protect you, if beauty couldn't protect you, if being beloved by millions couldn't protect you, then nothing could. The murder wasn't just personal, it was symbolic. Venezuela had killed the thing it loved most, the government scrambles. President Nicolas Maduro, who'd been in power less than a year after Hugo Chávez's death, calls the murder a tragedy that hurts all Venezuelans. He promises justice, orders a full investigation, promises the killers will be caught and punished. But everyone knows justice in Venezuela is performative. Theater. Arrests might be made for high-profile cases, especially ones with international attention. Someone might go to jail. But the system that allowed this to happen, the collapse of law, the normalization of violence, the complete failure of the state, that will continue. Monica's funeral is held in Caracas on January 10th, 2014. It's not just a funeral, it's a national event. Thousands of people line the streets outside the church. They hold white flowers, white roses, white carnations, white everything, the color of peace, of innocence, of things that shouldn't die young. They hold signs that read, "No más violencia." Not for her, not for anyone. Venezuela killed its angel. The crowd is silent. A country that never stops talking, that thrives on noise and passion and drama, goes completely silent. People cry quietly, hold each other, stand in the January heat for hours just to be there. As if their presence could somehow make it less real. As if collective grief could somehow bring her back. Inside the church, the service is unbearable. Her coffin is closed. Too much damage to show her face one last time. The altar is covered in white roses and photos of Monica smiling. Always smiling. That smile that made people believe in goodness. Her colleagues speak through tears. Gabi Espino, her best friend and fellow actress, can barely get through her eulogy. She talks about Monica's kindness, her generosity, her belief in Venezuela even when Venezuela didn't believe in itself. She wasn't afraid of this country, Gabi says, voice breaking. And that fearlessness killed her. Giancarlos Canella, her co-star from Pasión Prohibida, says, Monica believed in Venezuela when Venezuela didn't believe in itself. She loved us when we'd stopped being lovable. That's why we loved her. That's why we failed her. But the moment that breaks everyone, the moment when an entire nation shatters, is when Maya appears, 5 years old, wearing a white dress. Leg bandaged from the bullet wound, holding her grandmother's hand. She's not crying. She looks confused, like she doesn't fully understand where she is or why. She walks up to her mother's coffin, touches the white wood, looks at the photos. A journalist, breaking protocol, asks her, ¿Cómo estás, mi amor? How are you, sweetheart? Maya looks at her with those eyes, Monica's eyes, and says, Mommy is sleeping, but she's not sad. She's with the stars now. Venezuela weeps. After the funeral, something unprecedented happens. Protests erupt across the country, not organized by political parties, not coordinated by activists, just spontaneous outpourings of rage and grief from ordinary Venezuelans who finally had enough. People march through Caracas carrying photos of Monica, demanding change, demanding safety, demanding a government that protects its citizens instead of failing them. No more, they chant. Not one more death, not one more murder, not one more stolen life. The protests last for weeks. They merge with broader anti-government demonstrations already simmering. Students clash with police. Barricades go up in the streets. Tear gas, rubber bullets, then real bullets. The Maduro government cracks down hard. By February 2014, Venezuela is in upheaval. Dozens die in the clashes. Hundreds are arrested. The international community condemns the violence. The government blames foreign agitators. Monica becomes a symbol, not just of beauty or talent, but of everything Venezuela has lost. Of safety, of hope, of the belief that good people can survive in their own country. They call her La Reina Caída, the fallen queen. The beauty queen who became a martyr, the woman who loved her country to death. 7 men are eventually arrested for Monica's murder. The investigation is swift, pushed by international pressure and national outrage. Too many cameras watching for the government to let this one slide. The suspects are young, poor, products of the violence they inflicted. Some have criminal records, some don't. The trial is quick. Some are convicted of murder, some of lesser charges. Sentences range from 26 years to life. The government holds press conferences, shows photos of the arrested men, declares victory, says justice has been served, says Venezuela is safe again. But nobody believes it. Because the violence continues, the murders continue. Every day, more bodies, more funerals, more families destroyed. And Monica Spear remains dead. The international response is immediate and massive. The murder makes headlines worldwide. The BBC runs the story for days. CNN covers it extensively. The Guardian calls it the death that exposed Venezuela's collapse. The New York Times writes a long feature. When Beauty Dies, How Venezuela Lost Its Way. Human rights organizations cite Monica's case as evidence of Venezuela's state failure. The UN issues reports on Venezuelan crime and violence. The OAS calls for intervention. Foreign governments strengthen travel warnings, red alerts. Don't go to Venezuela. Not safe. Not anymore. Maybe never again. But for Venezuelans, it's more personal than geopolitics. Monica's death isn't just a statistic, it's proof that no one is safe. That beauty, fame, money, none of it matters. That violence is the only currency that still has value. That their country has become a place where queens get murdered on highways while their children watch. In the years after her death, the exodus accelerates. More Venezuelans flee. Millions. By 2024, over 7 million people, nearly a quarter of the population, have left. To Colombia, to Peru, to Chile, to Panama, to the United States, to Spain, to anywhere that isn't home. They're called refugees, migrants, economic exiles. But really, they're survivors. People who learned from Monica's death that love for a country can be fatal. That sometimes leaving isn't cowardice. It's survival. Her daughter, Maya, is raised by her maternal grandparents in the United States. She's kept out of the public eye, protected, sheltered from the media circus. They don't want her to become a symbol. They want her to be a child, to have therapy, to process trauma, to have the normal life Monica wanted for her but couldn't provide. But occasionally photos surface. Maya at 10, Maya at 12. Maya at 15, now a teenager. She looks like her mother. Same face, same smile when she smiles, though she doesn't smile much in photos. Same eyes, Monica's eyes, seeing a world that killed her mother. People comment on the photos. She's Monica reborn. She carries her mother's light. She's our second chance. Venezuela's future queen. But Maya is American now. Speaks English with a Florida accent. Probably doesn't remember much about Venezuela except the worst night of her life, and maybe that's for the best. What is Monica's legacy to her daughter? Beauty, talent, or just trauma and the lesson that hope can kill you? In 2015, Venezuelan network Venevisión produces a documentary. Monica Spear, El Rostro de un País, The Face of a Country. 2 hours tracing her life from beauty queen to actress to victim, from crown to coffin, from hope to highway. The filmmakers interview everyone, friends, family, colleagues, directors who worked with her, actors who knew her, people who went to school with her. The journalist who interviewed her weeks before her death. Everyone says the same thing in different words. She was kind. She was genuine. She was optimistic. She believed in hope. She believed in Venezuela. She believed beauty meant making things better. And hope killed her. Venezuela killed her. Belief killed her. The documentary ends with footage from her last Instagram post. The rainbow over Highway 33, that word, Esperanza, then a cut to crime scene photos, blurred, sanitized for television, but still clear enough. The bullet-riddled Toyota, the shattered glass, the blood on the asphalt, the flowers left by strangers who never met her but mourn her anyway. She photographed Hope so we could identify its body later. The documentary airs on the anniversary of her death, breaks viewership records. Everyone in Venezuela watches. Everyone in the diaspora watches. It's cathartic, painful, necessary. The message is clear. This is what hope looks like in Venezuela. This is what happens when you refuse to give up on a country that's already given up on itself. This is the price of faith. Scholars now study Monica's case as a historical turning point. The moment when Venezuela's crisis became undeniable. When the international community could no longer ignore what was happening. When beauty and brutality collided on a highway and the world finally looked. Academic papers are written. The Monica Spear Effect, Celebrity Victimization and National Identity Crisis. When Queens Fall, Beauty, Violence, and State Failure in Contemporary Venezuela. Martyrdom and Memory, the political legacy of Monica Spear. But for ordinary Venezuelans, the ones who watched her on television, who voted for her in the pageant, who grew up with her smile on their screens, she's something simpler and more profound. She's the last memory of when their country still had queens, when beauty and talent mattered, when someone could be famous and decent at the same time, when hope wasn't a death sentence. On the walls of Caracas, graffiti appears and reappears no matter how many times authorities paint over it. Mónica vive mientras recordemos lo que ella soñó. Monica lives as long as we remember what she dreamed. But what did she dream? A safe Venezuela, a just Venezuela, or just a Venezuela that didn't kill the people who loved it? Every January, the country remembers her, not as warning, but as excuse, because remembering is easier than changing. There's a recording that surfaces every year on the anniversary. An interview Monica gave in late 2013 to a Colombian journalist doing a documentary on Venezuelan expatriates. It's eerie to watch now. Prophetic. Tragic. The journalist asks about the danger, about why Monica keeps going back to Venezuela when so many others have left for good and are never coming back. Monica is sitting in her Miami apartment. Casual clothes, no makeup, just herself. She thinks for a moment before answering. I know it's dangerous, everyone knows. The crime statistics are horrific. My friends in Miami think I'm crazy, maybe I am. But it's home. And I can't let fear dictate my life. Because if we all leave, if all the good people run away, then what's left? Who fights for the Venezuela we want? Who remembers what it used to be? Who believes it can be that again? The journalist presses, but aren't you afraid? Afraid for yourself, for Maya? Monica smiles, that genuine smile, the one that won her the crown, the one that made millions love her, and says, of course I'm afraid. I'd be stupid not to be afraid, but fear doesn't build nations, hope does. And someone has to keep hoping. Even if it's naive, even if it's dangerous, someone has to refuse to give up. 6 weeks later, she's dead, killed on a highway in the country she refused to give up on. The video goes viral after her murder. Millions watch it, share it, cry over it, use it as proof that Monica was a hero, that she died for something, that her death meant something. But others see it differently. See it as proof that hope without protection is just a beautiful way to die. That loving a country that doesn't love you back is suicide. That martyrdom is just another word for waste. Both interpretations are true. Both are unbearable. In 2020, a foundation is established in her name. Fundación Monica Spear. It provides scholarships for young Venezuelan women pursuing education and careers, supports victims of violence, counseling, legal aid, financial assistance, funds arts education programs, promotes the values Monica believed in: kindness, courage, optimism, faith in humanity. The message: beauty can still be a bridge even after bullets. Hope can survive even when the hopeful don't. Maya, now a young woman living in Florida, releases a statement through her grandparents on the foundation's launch. My mother believed in Venezuela. I believe in the Venezuela she imagined, the one worth fighting for, the one that protects its children instead of orphaning them, the one that values grace instead of violence. I don't know if that Venezuela exists, but I believe it's worth trying to build. For her, it's beautiful, it's hopeful. And Maya says it from Miami, from safety, from 6 years of therapy in American schools and a life without fear. From the place Monica refused to fully embrace because she couldn't let go of home. And that's the tragedy. Not just that Monica died, but that her death changed nothing fundamental. 10 years later, Venezuela has only gotten worse. The violence continues. The economic collapse continues. The political crisis continues. The exodus continues. The hope continues to kill people. As of 2024, Venezuela has one of the highest murder rates in the world. Over 40 homicides per 100,000 people. Over 7 million Venezuelans have fled. The ones who remain live in a state of constant fear, constant scarcity, constant grief. And Monica Spear is still dead. Every January 6th, Venezuelans around the world post her photo on social media. Light candles, write tributes, promise to never forget. We remember you, Monica. You deserved better. Venezuela killed its angel. You believed when we couldn't. Descansa en paz, Reina. But memory isn't justice. Memory isn't safety. Memory doesn't bring anyone back. Memory is just the way we decorate graves and pretend the dead are still with us. There's a photograph that circulates every year on the anniversary of her death. Monica on a beach in Puerto Cabello, hair wet from the ocean, hand shielding her eyes from the sun, laughing at something off camera. She looks carefree, beautiful, alive, immortal. The caption always reads, "This is the Venezuela we lost." But that's not quite accurate. It's not the Venezuela that was lost. It's the Venezuela that never existed. The Venezuela Monica believed in. The Venezuela of hope and kindness and beauty that protects instead of destroys. The Venezuela where queens don't bleed out on highways while their children watch. That Venezuela was always a dream, and dreams don't survive bullets. The last image on Monica's camera, recovered from the crime scene by police and eventually returned to her family, is that rainbow over Highway 33. Photographed at sunset on January 5th, 2014, the day before she died. The colors are vivid against the gray sky. Beautiful. Hopeful. The file is named Esperanza JPG. Hope. She photographed hope, then died under it, then became it. Monica Spear was 29 years old when she was murdered. She'd been Miss Venezuela, a television star across Latin America, a mother, a woman who believed that love for a country was worth the risk. She was wrong. Or maybe she was right. Maybe dying for what you love is still a form of living. Maybe hope, even when it's fatal, is still hope. Maybe someone has to believe even when belief becomes a death sentence. Or maybe she was just a woman who stayed too long in a place that stopped being safe. Who believed in a country that no longer existed. Who paid for optimism with her life and her daughter's innocence. Who learned too late that beauty makes you visible and visibility makes you a target. The crack is where the light gets in, but in Venezuela, it's also where the bullets enter. Monica Spear was both the beauty and the wound, the crown and the country that killed her, the hope and the proof that hope isn't enough. She left us with a question written in blood on a dark highway. If loving your country can kill you, what kind of homeland is it? And when a nation murders its queens, who teaches it to worship grace instead of violence?